in, and I'm going to go ahead and bring you this piece on the Japanese Prime Minister. Um, I promised that I would bring it to you guys earlier, so I'm back to do that. So I'm going to get into it and get you guys in and out. Nobody gets hurt, right? That's the goal. In and out. Nobody gets hurt. So I hope you guys are doing well. It is about 7:32 in the PM, and if you're on East Coast time, it's around 8:32 in the PM. So I'm going to bring you a piece from Reuters. Yeah, the piece I'm going to bring you is going to be an exclusive piece from Reuters regarding Japan's new prime minister. So let's get into that piece, shall we? Okay. So thank you guys so much for coming back. I mean, I almost didn't make it back, but I said, I got to try to keep up, try to keep up around here. All right. So I want to go ahead and start with this piece. So I'm just going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you straight, straight up. And then I'll come back and give you a little bit of analysis on this, okay? Because I suspect that we have tons of economies that are going in the same direction. I've been saying that, but with a little bit of extra research, I've actually found that is not actually, that's not only true, but there's about 5 to watch, okay? Marcy T's back. Thank you so much, Marcy T. So according to Reuters, an exclusive piece that Japan's new prime minister is preparing large economic stimulus to tackle inflation, sources say. Okay, so that's yeah. I learned a few things about their economy while I was going through this and whatnot. So according to this was released today, that Japan's new prime minister, I guess it's Sanae Takaichi, is preparing an economic stimulus package that is likely to exceed last year's $92 billion to help households tackle inflation. Government sources familiar with the plan said on Wednesday. The package is of more than 13.9 trillion yen. That's 92.19 billion. And this is Takashi's first major economic initiative since the advocate of big fiscal spending took office on Tuesday, reflecting a commitment to what she calls, quote, responsible, proactive fiscal policy. Hi, Realize. Not sure what's going on here. I don't know. It's just a bit much. But thank you so much for coming in, you guys. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to keep going with this. Thank you guys, Marcy T, Prayer Warrior, and of course, Realize. I got to make sure that I get that in there. Okay, so I'm going to keep going with this, and then I'll tell you some other findings that I have. So, but you're old schooling it around here. Like I said, I'm going to eventually make note cards great again. Okay. I love it. Isn't it poetic? I love it. It's great. All right, so I'm going to keep going. So according to Japan's benchmark, I guess it's Nikkei, erased losses and turned higher on Wednesday after the Reuters report, when the yen paired morning gains and with little change. So according to this, the investors are closely watching Takaichi's spending plans, as Japan is one of the world's most indebted economies. So this is why I think people are thinking that a lot of this digital and all this stuff is coming out, because they're thinking that this is gonna lead us into the the mark. This could be, you can't buy or sell without. Okay, no matter what you believe, I'm not telling you what to believe. I'm just telling you, I'm gonna give you that. I'm gonna give you that piece, or wherever, if it's written, it's written. It's written. It's what it is. It doesn't change. Okay, so as part of its core inflation relief measures, the Takaichi administration plans to swiftly abolish the provisional gasoline tax rate. It also aims to expand local government grants with a focus on supporting small and medium-sized companies that are unable to benefit from existing tax incentives for wage hikes. The package will also include investments in growth sectors such as, here's the ticker, such as artificial intelligence and semiconductors, as the government focuses on strategic economic development. Okay, we're going to put that one in a holding pattern. It says the exact scale of the package is still being finalized, as the sources said. It could be announced as early as next month. So I don't know. Somebody this morning said, "Oh, we need another stimulus package." We see how that worked out, right? Okay, so let's just keep going here. So it says it was too early to talk about the size of the upcoming extra budget. Japan's new finance minister, Satsuki Katayama, said at a news conference on Wednesday, but it should be of sufficient scale to cover all measures needed. To fund the measures, the government is moving ahead with drafting a supplementary budget for the current fiscal year through March, with an eye toward passing it during the upcoming extraordinary parliament session. Okay. So what I've seen here so far is I see a pattern here. So that's what I'm here to bring all of that out. So I'm gonna make sure I'm not missing anything right here. Hope you guys are doing well out there, and I have it. It's on my list. It's on my list, but it's on my list. But I don't know if I'll make it this the way the world is now. I don't know, Marcy. I don't know. I mean, don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm gonna make it anywhere internationally for a while. Just everything's changed quite a bit. So I'm just trying to make sure I'm not missing anything here. But I can just keep going here. I mean, it's gonna bring us the same. It's gonna bring us to the same piece. It's Ogford Doggy. Not sure if I'm getting that right. Okay. All right. So here we go. All right. My little piece here is a little bit sketchy. All right. So let me pick up where I left off here. All right, so we got through the part here. So we're thinking right away. So I just talked to you guys about the package will also include investments. It's going to include investments in growth sectors such as artificial intelligence, semiconductors, as the government focuses on strategic economic development. Sound familiar? Maybe. Does it sound like anywhere else? I would say. This is the exact scale of the package is still being finalized. The sources said it could be announced as early as next month. Okay, so let's keep going here. All right, so it's kind of coming to a close on that. But I just wanted to let you know that there are about 5 countries to watch right about now, and they're going in the same direction. So I was just curious about, what other nations are doing, investing in similar industries, growth industries, right? And because I think of the U.S., I think of all the talk that there's been about, now that the U.S. has purchased the government has invested in NVIDIA. I forgot the percentage. I'm not sure what the percentage is, but that's a semiconductor investment. It is. So let's just go back here. I'll give you the top 5 to watch when it comes to these types of investments. So we have countries that are investing in AI as well as the semiconductors. So China is number 1, and then South Korea is number 2, Germany is number 3, 4 is India, and then Saudi Arabia. Okay, so many of these countries are investing in AI and the semi industries beyond Japan. So they're all touting the same thing. Oh, we're raising national capacities for, of course, semiconductors and AI. They claim they want to reduce reliance on external suppliers. That sounds like the U.S. to me. But it's not just the U.S., because to me there's global gloom and doom. I think a feeling of that in the air. So yeah, but the top five are You know, a couple of them are one South Korea, China, and of course Germany, India, and Saudi Arabia. So those are the ones that I'll probably keep an eye on. But we also know that India has a little bit of a depletion now in their silver depositories. So it's just, I think something's going to give, and they're positioning themselves for they're positioning themselves and us for what's next. While meanwhile we're over here bantering about, you know, a martyr and some other things, but there's other AI governance is being passed, and it's going on. Just overall, like what they're going to do is completely the tokenization for property, and you know, being able to switch property over to basically translate the property value over to a digital value. It's all being swapped. It's all being set up. Okay. They're putting in infrastructure and framework for where we're about to go. Now that's from Japan. Now I did mention this piece earlier about Trump's proposal to buy Argentina's beef. And it came out, somebody put out a piece today that it was, you know, a betrayal of the U.S. ranchers, which I can see that too. All right, let me go back in here and read some comments here. It says, Ogford P. Doggy. Okay, I'm not sure. UK, Marcy T says the UK is emptying the jails to make room for the pesky dissenters of the digital ID. Wow, Marcy T. You're on it. You're on it per usual. I realize says Marcy inmates in prisons are doomed. Wow. All right. Well, I'm going to bring you guys this last piece. Okay. And this one is coming from Farm Action. I'm just going to give you this one straight, because this one makes me think of, what in the world happened to the USMCA? I don't hear any, you know, as soon as that thing got signed, it seems like it just kind of melted away, or it was in oblivion, right? So I'll go ahead. This is from Farm Action, okay, .us. Okay, Trump's proposal to buy Argentina's beef betrays U.S. ranchers. Farm Action issued the following response to Donald Trump's proposal that the U.S. purchase Argentinian beef to bring down beef prices. The statement can be attributed to a few people. If you guys want that, I'll put that in the description box. However, quote, President Trump's plan to buy beef from Argentina is a betrayal of the American rancher. Those of us who raise cattle have finally started to see what profit looks like after facing years of high input cost and market manipulation by the meatpacking monopoly. After crashing the soybean market and gifting Argentina our largest export buyer, he's now poised to do the same to the cattle market. Importing Argentinian beef would send U.S. cattle prices plummeting, and with the meatpacking industry as consolidated as it is, consumers may not see lower beef prices either. Washington should be focused on fixing our broken cattle market, not rewarding foreign competitors. With these actions, President Trump risks acting more like the president of Argentina than the president of the United States. The U.S. beef industry is dominated by four major meat packers that control roughly 85% of the market. This consolidation allows them to suppress prices paid to ranchers while keeping consumer prices high. Importing more beef into this rigged system will not lower costs for families or restore fair markets for producers. To fix this structurally flawed system, the Trump administration should reinstate mandatory country of origin labeling for beef and pork, restore competitive markets by enforcing antitrust laws, and rebuild the U.S. cow herd to achieve national self-reliance in beef production. Okay, I'm just going to keep going here. Trump's announcement also comes after Argentina took hold of the soybean market. After China stopped buying from U.S. farmers, meanwhile, Washington is looking at sending another $20 billion lifeline to support Argentina's economy. Okay, so of course you got some got some little ag photos in the back. So yeah, that's kind of you know, they're coming, letting him know, you know, what's been, you know, that we've been kind of sold out, right? But like I said, I don't hear anybody. Has anybody else heard anything else about the USMCA since it was signed? And that was the U.S., Mexico, Canada agreement that they signed, like very close to the end of his first term. And you know, I talked about that every time they get these huge bills, and before they, you know, get signed in, and nobody actually reads them. But I did bring out that at that particular time that there were all kinds of protections in there, and I just don't know how. You know, he's not even really keeping us within. I think that there's probably, you know, probably some violation somewhere in there. I'm not sure. I'm just sure that they probably leave enough loopholes to do whatever they want to do. And shout out to Marcy T, destroy us from within. Yes, that's that Rome 2.0. That's that Rome 2.0 kind of destiny. That's ancient Rome 2.0 that, you know, resembles around here. So yeah, so I appreciate you guys for coming back. I guess I'll continue to follow this particular story on the farmers, and we'll see what comes up. So let me go through and see. Marcy T says, well, I wonder what Bill Gates is going to say about this. Might affect his his impossible meat. Yeah, I've seen that on the shelf so many times, and I just make a conscious effort not to, like, yeah, like yeah. No thanks. No thanks. Yeah, because I've seen those frozen patties, and I've also seen them sitting right there next to, I guess the regular beef. Can I call it that? So yeah, so let me keep reading here. Pantera's righteous son, let me be the person who tells you where Jesus started his church. Let's see. Okay, so you guys, let's just try to stay. I'm not sure. I don't know that conversation right now. But I appreciate you guys so much for coming in. So we'll keep an eye on these. I think these global economies, and as well as the U.S. The U.S. is doing a lot of, you know, there's been investment. NVIDIA is a competitor of Huawei. Okay, that's a big competitor for China. And you know, I talked about this a while ago, in which once they were doing the 5G Secure Act and all of these things, they were back in 19. Allegedly, they were concerned. Oh, that we'd be compromised if, depending on what nations had access to, that were going to be a part of that infrastructure, or how it's going to be checked. But I'm not sure. I'm just wondering if everything's out the window right about now, because everybody's trying to get a hedge on AI and semiconductors. And the U.S. is no different, because I think the U.S. and China are very much twined with the decisions that they're making. As a matter of fact, the semiconductor CEO of NVIDIA said that he thought that whatever hurts China is going to hurt the U.S. So this economy, this global economy, and the investments, I think this could definitely be something to watch. So if you want to stay tuned, I'll keep an eye on it, because I think even their position fell, I think, within the last few weeks. So we'll just see what happens. Chicken Stranger 3826, your channel says you analyze language. Can I analyze the Republican Party's language? Well, can you be more specific? I mean, and also, we do, that's a special segment. That segment is called Echo and Insight. I will, you have to be more specific than what language, what piece specifically. We're talking about technical language, figurative language. Yeah, bring us in. Lean in a little bit. You got to give me some context. Uh, Joseph Francis Burton says, I'm in relaxed mode also. Greetings from Socorro, New Mexico. All right. I rode the train Back to the Future on, not too long ago on that, on that train. I'm going to tell you, I mean, it was a beautiful drive, a beautiful ride. Amtrak needs to step it up is what I will say. But New Mexico is fantastic. Yeah, but I don't know. It's just, somebody, Derek C. Williams is here. Don't let me miss out on Derek C. Williams is here. He says he's in relaxed mode. Well, good. Hopefully we can add to the flavor. We can add to the relaxing flavor around here. I'm here with Marcy T. Prayer Warrior, as well as Realize. And we're glad you're here, Derek C. Williams. We thank you. And everybody else as well. Everybody else is still in here. Og4 P Doggy. Did I get that right? Og4 P Doggy. Thank you so much for coming in. Let's see who else is here. I'm just trying to keep up. I'm just trying to, Pantera's Righteous Son. I don't know if I'm getting that right. I don't know if I'm getting it right. And then, okay, so what have I got here? I never did get the language question. Latressa Montgomery 7932. I thought they didn't get along with Trump and China. When you say you thought they didn't get along with Trump and China, who didn't get along with Trump and China? Let's see. The CEO of NVIDIA. Let's see. He is actually Hensing Huang. I think he's Taiwanese American. I think he is. Derek C. Williams, let me jump in here. The Republican Party's platform is a person succeeds through the sweat of his brow. Who can argue with an honest day's work? Oh, look at you, Derek C. Williams. Derek C. Williams says he owns NVIDIA stock. All right, I see you. I see you. I see you got the tags. All right. It says hopefully Mr. Chicken, that'll get the conversation started. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so I see. Of course, I think I do think that I mean every man should have a work ethic. Yes, I do. I agree with that sentiment. If you're asking me, do I agree with? Yeah, of course I agree with that. But do I think that's Republican flavor? I think that's older than that. I think the man should. If the man doesn't work, he shouldn't eat. That's definitely older than a party line. I mean, I'm just not gonna I'm not gonna sit here and say I know where they want the line of demarcation to be, but I see very little change. I see very little change. I see very little for the common man. I do. Very, very little. Marcy T says, we are not left, right. No, I just think we need to think for ourselves is what we need to do. I'm just, yeah, I don't have a, this channel has never been, I never had the moniker conservative Black Spring with Autumn. That's never been my moniker. It wasn't the right wing Black Spring with Autumn. It was never the, it was never that. I will say it was a lens that I used. It was a lens that I used to, I might have started out with that lens, but I'd also seen the other. I also looked through that other lens first, and then I went to that one. So, Derek C. Williams says, been with them since 2016. I own CRISPR stock as well. Some would call gene editing evil. I agree. My response is that Derek will never submit to the gene editing. There you go. Well, see, look at there. You're diversified. Derek C. Williams says, neither left or right, wherever vetted truth takes me. I can roll with that. See? Derek C. Williams. When I say shout out, this is the prolific Derek C. Williams. Shout out to the class of CV19. No, COVID-19. Shout out to the class of COVID-19. Yeah, we've all been hanging in there together for some time now. So we know. Joseph Francis Burton comes in. The fact that you have never been party partisan is why I subscribed to your channel in the first place. There you go. But you know what? These algorithms don't like that, Derek C. Williams. Because I kind of like sometimes when people come in for the first time, that's one that, or either they'll say, is this a blah, 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 blah. They'll look around, is this a this kind of channel? Is this a that kind of channel? And I'm like, well, you gotta go to the archives. Go to the archives and you'll see what was there. What was there, what I'm trying to do now. Was there, did I evolve? Yes. And I think we all do. But to me, let it be for more clarity. Let it be with more guidance and not more, I don't dare say more sway. Like, yeah. March T, the prayer warrior says, and the box don't like either. At Chicken Strangler 3826 says, deporting. What's the, yeah, fill us in. What's deporting? Deporting what? You know, if you were really, honestly, I don't think these people, I don't really think that anybody, they really want to deport anyone. I'm going to be honest. You just think about it, there's too many people that are using the labor, that are getting the cheaper labor. They can't, at this point, they can't afford to have their own cover blown. I noticed that a lot of these industries, a lot of these plants have been busted for having, quote, illegals working there. John Smith, Q1 me. Didn't you have to go to the corner last night? Didn't you get put in the corner last night with all that flavor you brought? You brought that flavor in last night. Let's see. Because, I mean, a lot of people have started entire roofing companies with, quote, illegals. I mean, they're completely outsourcing their labor to illegals. And then now we're outsourcing our other industries. We're outsourcing a lot of, and the kids have outsourced their brains to Chromebooks. It's as quiet as it's kept. You see, you picking up what I'm putting down? Derek C. Williams says, deporting illegal aliens. You come to the country wrong, you should be sent home without prejudice. Well, I agree with that. At the same time, they're not, I just think there's too many people here now. They'll never send all of those. They'll never get rid of all of those people. They'll never get to the bottom, because it's one thing about it. It's like once they get inside the corridors of the U.S., it's done. It's like they become invisible. There are reports that students are unenrolled in schools, and nobody knows where they are, where they went. But there again, if you have somebody to come in and you didn't track them, but then you expect them to show you some type of loyalty, or to, hey, let us know when you're going to leave and leave our stuff, leave our electronics and our free lunch and all of this stuff, it's not going to happen. Because I'm going to tell you, you can't come, none of us could go to these other places and do what's going on here. We couldn't. I mean, even for, like, say, for instance, like if I know for a fact, even being a student in another country, you either get a job after you graduate, or you have to go back. You know, you might get that visa, you might get that student visa for 1 year, but after that year, you don't find a job and you're not going to be a contributing part of their society, then you got to leave. I mean, and I mean, I know about that. I've experience with that firsthand. But I can't just go there, and I can't go anywhere. I don't know anywhere that I've been able to go to just, hey, go there and get on there, get on these people's system in which they're people paying taxes or actively paying taxes. And all of a sudden I can just show up there and say, hey, take care of me because I want to trade my life, my former life, for what you have. It doesn't work that way. But there's some other, I've seen some other things that go on in some of these places as well. Like I know that back in 19, it's funny. It's funny how all that works. I noticed that a lot of the Africans or people of that happen to be of a darker skin hue were sleeping on the rocks with massive size rats on the coast of France. I know that for a fact. So, but then it was funny how they would lecture other nations about humanity, but then that's not what I witnessed when I went to their country. I mean, I saw the people there. I was out there with them. I wasn't sleeping under the rocks with giant sized rats. No, I wasn't. Rats the size of cats. No, I wasn't, but they were. At night, that's where they would sleep. But then you have Emmanuel Macron, he comes on, I'm telling you, all the world's a stage. And you have to be there to see, you have to have, you got it. When you go there, you get the perspective, you get it. And then you realize, it's not all about what the media says. Or it's not that they're not going down. I never saw a crew down there with cameras and covering that every evening. I didn't see that. I mean, it's a beautiful coast, but and these huge boulders and things are down there. I think those boulders are not natural. I think those boulders are a part of their infrastructure. But because the coast is so beautiful, it's nobody would really pay attention. But you can see the amount of trash and the amount of litter underneath. And the people were under there. You could hear them. So I'm just, shout out to everybody that's still in the chat. I think I'm gotten behind here a little bit. Let's see. Okay, Derek. I'm behind here. Marcy T says, how about I sneak into your house and say, okay, this is my house. Now get out and your job's mine too. Let's see. Derek C. Williams, I'm super behind. Derek C. Williams says an American citizen should get to work too. SNAP is gone, and I've seen videos where idiot, lazy citizens proclaim that it's the taxpayer's job to take care of their children. Let's see. It says, don't leave it up to Derek. Their children are in trouble. Well, I'm going to be honest. I don't find that a lot of people that are receiving this assistance, I don't find that they're taking that great of a care of the kids. I really don't. I've seen a lot of kids that are gone unfed is what I have seen. I've seen I've seen some hungry kids that are getting, that their parents are probably getting tons of assistance. That doesn't add up either. I don't know what, for years we've heard about people selling their actual food stamps or exchanging their food stamps for other items, if you know what I mean. The kids don't get fed, Let's see. Right, I went to the Dominican Republic. It was horrible. At Chicken, let's see, literally never seen a single video of someone claiming to be in the U.S. illegally. Marco. Mr. Chicken, your point is what as it relates to illegal aliens. Mr. Chicken, maybe you wouldn't have, maybe you haven't. I'd say you're not paying attention. John Roberts says, I almost starved in the Dominican Republic. You know, I have never been to the DR. I'm just saying, I have never been to the Dominican Republic, and I don't know. There's just, I've been to enough. After doing a cruise, like I don't it wasn't a Dominican cruise. I don't know. It's like, to me, once you've done one, you've kind of done them all. Uh, let's see. Marcy T says, hugs, John. John, I'm sorry. John Roberts. Shout out to John Roberts. You guys drop your links in the stream. John Roberts has great content. He's got some wonderful pieces that he's discussing, and he's also got some wonderful images that I think he shared earlier today, or was it yesterday? See, Derek C. Williams, and we clearly disagree. Marcy T has an excellent analogy. That's literally what's happening. Let's see. All right. So we got some things going on there. Well, I appreciate you guys so much for coming in. I just want to get those stories out, because I will be following it up, to see what's happening with this whole. I'm really intrigued with the whole NVIDIA, because I think there's been some activity, that's not quite favorable for that industry. But I'm definitely going to keep my eye on it for sure. Let's see. Chicken Strangler says showing their American citizens is illegal. Marcy T. Prayer Warrior says, I went on a medical mission with a pediatric surgeon to the Dominican. There you go. Was that, I assume that's not, I knew somebody that was doing, what was it, Doctors Without Borders. I would imagine that that's still going on. I imagine it is. You guys have got it going on in here for a Wednesday. You got it going on in here for a Wednesday, for sure. I appreciate you guys and the good work, good team. All right, well, I'm just gonna go ahead and give everybody a nice thank you for coming in. Just did a couple of pieces. So semiconductor and AI, I think, is definitely one to watch. I think the U.S. government has definitely already invested in that. I remember that. I'm trying to remember what was the last thing. So it's, yeah. Yikes. I forgot what was the term. What was the deal? What was the deal? So I'm going to go ahead and give everybody a shout out and get you guys out of here. Oh, so you have this CHIPS Act, okay? CHIPS Act. You have that, but you've also had something more recent than that. Yeah, you've had something more recent than that to come on. So, okay. So I want to thank Marcy T. Prayer Warrior for coming in. Realize. Thank you so much for coming in. Thank you, Ogford P. Doggy, for coming in. Let's see, I'm not sure whatever happened to Pantera's righteous son, if you're still around. I'm not sure. Not sure if you are, but thank you for coming in. Let's see, what else do I have here? Trying about Derek C. Williams, of course, the prolific Derek C. Williams. How could I not get that one right? And Joseph Francis Burton. Yes, please feel free to drop your links. I'm not sure if Latricia Montgomery's still here. Latricia Montgomery. I hope I got to your. I think I tried to get to your question, or I was trying to. I was trying to clarify something. Let's see what else. John Roberts. Okay. So yeah, I appreciate you guys so much for coming in. Marcy T, you invade a country that's equivalent to breaking into somebody's home. Yes, it is. Well, I'm telling you, it's kind of crazy the way the evolution of things. Um, yeah, the evolution of these things. Um, all right, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up because it is it feels late. Feels super late. Derek C. Williams says the Maryland man confirmed gang member and illegal alien. He has to go. Let's see. Marcia T says we're Americans. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you guys so much for coming in. And if you guys, please, if you can, drop your link. Okay. I don't know if you guys can. But drop them. Drop your link for sure if you can. You know, that'll be great for everyone. We're watering gardens around here. That's what we do. All right, I'm going to read a couple more comments and then I'm going to get out of here. Okay, so we have, think about it, American citizens running cover and defending illegal aliens. Yikes, bizarro world indeed. All right, guys, well, I appreciate everything. And yeah, I appreciate everybody for coming in and for sharing your perspectives. And, you know, sometimes, you know, we have different ideas. And yes. So I appreciate everyone. And you guys have a great rest of your, what day is it? Hey, have a great rest of your Wednesday. So I'll certainly keep an eye on these AI and semiconductor investments because I do believe that the White House has made an investment. There's been a there's been a government investment made into I think NVIDIA. I'm pretty sure it is. Okay, and or at least I know that's a part of. I think Trump is invested in NVIDIA as well. So we'll see what happens. Maybe it's smart. Maybe it's a smart pull for your portfolios if you're out here managing your own portfolio. Sounds like somebody is. Derek C. Williams says, card carrying conspiracy theorist and YouTube renegade. Derek C. Williams here. Love it. Loving it. All right, guys. Well, I will see you later. Have a great evening, guys. And I'll see you back tomorrow. Okay, guys. Thank you. Bye.